Hey everyone! Today we are going to dive into a React hook that is an absolute game changer for user experience. If you've ever dealt with a laggy, frustrating UI, this is for you. We're talking about useTransition and how it can take your app from feeling stuck to feeling incredibly smooth. So here's the plan. We'll start with a problem that we all know and hate, the laggy UI. Then we'll introduce the solution, useTransition. We'll see it in action with a real example, learn how to show a pending state so the user isn't left guessing, cover some common mistakes to avoid, and finally, look at how this all fits into building seriously modern apps. All right, let's set the scene. You know the feeling. You're using an app, you click on something, and everything just stops. The whole interface feels like it's stuck in mud. I mean, who hasn't experienced this? It's maybe the most frustrating thing for a user. You're trying to filter a big list or switch to a view that's packed with data, and the whole page just locks up. You can't click, you can't scroll, you're just stuck. This is exactly the kind of bad user experience we're going to fix. So, what's actually going on here? Well, by default, React treats every single state update as a top priority, urgent event. That means it drops everything it's doing to re-render the screen, which can freeze the app if it's a big update. But what if we could just tell React, hey, this next update, it's not a huge emergency. Feel free to work on it in the background and just let me know when you're done. That, right there, is a transition update. And that brings us to the star of the show, the useTransition hook. This is the tool React gives us to make those non-blocking UIs a reality. Okay, so what does it really do? The official definition says it all. useTransition is how you signal to React that a certain state update can take a backseat. By marking it as non-urgent, you're basically giving React permission to prepare that new UI behind the scenes without locking everything up. The user can keep clicking around and the app stays responsive. And you know, the best part is how incredibly simple it is to get started. It's really just 2 steps. First, you call useTransition in your component. It gives you back 2 things, a boolean called isPending and a function, startTransition. Then you just find that slow state update that's causing all the trouble and you wrap it in the startTransition function. That's literally it. All right, theory is great, but let's make this real. We're going to walk through a super common example that'll make this whole concept click into place. So picture a classic tab component. You've got your About tab, Contact tab, and then you have the Posts tab. And that Posts tab, well, it has to go fetch and then render a massive list of items. It's a heavy operation. So in a typical setup, what happens? The moment you click on Posts, React immediately tries to render that new state. So the About page you were just looking at, poof, it's gone. You're left with a blank space. And now the entire UI is frozen, and you're just staring at this big, ugly loading spinner that's taken over the whole screen. It feels clunky, it feels broken. The user can't even change their mind and click back to the About tab. It's a terrible experience. Okay, now for the magic. We take that same tab switching logic and we wrap it in startTransition. Now, when you click Posts, the About tab stays right where it is. The UI doesn't freeze, it's still completely interactive. This is what it's all about. While you're still looking at the old content, React is busy in the background getting that heavy Posts component ready. And once it's fully rendered, it just seamlessly swaps it in. No flash of blank content, no jarring page-level loader. It just feels professional. Okay, this is great. The UI stays responsive. But wait, we've kind of introduced a new, smaller problem, haven't we? The user clicks the tab, but for a split second, it looks like nothing happened. They need some feedback. That's where the other piece of useTransition comes in, isPending. Remember that isPending value we got from the hook? It's just a simple boolean, a light switch. It flips to true as soon as you start transition, and it flips back to false the moment the background work is done. It's our direct line to what React is doing behind the curtain. And we can use this simple little flag to create way better user experiences. Instead of that huge blocking spinner, we can use isPending to show a tiny spinner right inside the Posts tab. Or maybe we just fade out the tab's text a little bit to show it's loading. We could disable a submit button to prevent double clicks. The point is, we can give instant, focused feedback without bringing the whole app to a halt. Now, useTransition is incredibly powerful, but you can't just sprinkle it everywhere and expect magic. To really master it, you have to know where not to use it. So let's cover a couple of the most common mistakes that people run into. This is, without a doubt, the #1 question people ask when they first try this hook. They see a slow search result that filters as you type, so they think, I'll wrap the input state update in a transition. And then it feels totally broken. You type and nothing shows up in the input box. What's the deal? The reason is simple. Typing in an input field has to be an urgent, synchronous update. Users expect to see the characters they type appear immediately. So trying to defer that, like in the incorrect example, just won't work. The right way to do it is with two pieces of state. One for the input value itself, that's urgent, and a second one for the deferred search query. You update the input instantly and you wrap the search query update in the transition. All right, here's another one that can really throw you for a loop. You start a transition, you make an async API call with await, and then you call setState after the data comes back. But for some reason, that final state update isn't behaving like a transition. Why not? This is a really subtle quirk of how React and the JavaScript event loop work right now. Basically, once your code continues after an await, React has sort of forgotten that it was in the middle of a transition. The fix, which you can see in the correct example, is to just rewrap the state update after the await inside another startTransition call. It looks a little weird, but knowing this one trick will save you so much time debugging. Okay, let's zoom out. useTransition isn't just a cool trick for making tabs and buttons feel nicer. It's actually a core foundational piece of modern React. This concept is absolutely essential for modern routing libraries that use suspense. When you wrap a page navigation in a transition, it becomes interruptible. A user can click a link, and before it finishes loading, they can click a different link without getting stuck. It gets rid of those ugly loading flashes because the router can wait for all the data to be ready before it even tries to show the new page. It is the engine behind a truly fluid browsing experience in a single-page app. So, there you have it. useTransition gives us this incredible power to separate what's urgent from what can wait, which keeps our apps feeling fast and our users happy. It's a fundamental shift in how we handle state in React. So the only real question left is, what's the first laggy part of your app that you're going to go fix?